Hello, everyone, and welcome back again for Slowing Down in Lockdown. So, in the first part of this series, we talked about, Jenna and I, we talked about why do you do the things you do? We started speaking about, the external pressure and versus internal and versus external, and then what are we supposed to do, what we think we should do, and adding more to our plates. So, just a little recap. And this part today, we are going to be talking about the benefits of slowing down. So now that we got you thinking a little bit more about why you're doing some of the things you're doing, either because you're expected to or not, now we're going to delve deeper into slowing down and what you could get actually out of it. So I know that, for example, before I slowed down in my own life, I struggled a lot with anxiety, with burnout, and also I was getting sick a lot because I was always rushing to things and I was not sleeping properly, not taking care of myself properly. It was go 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 go. So in this part, we're going to be addressing all about some of the challenges you might be facing right now, and then how you can actually resolve these by integrating slowing down into your lifestyle.
I'm really excited to talk about this because slowing down kind of goes hand in hand with self care for me. So, slowing down, it supports mental, it supports emotional and physical health too, because it causes or it helps us have less stress and less overwhelm. For me, the slowing down stuff really started because I had trouble sleeping. And for a year, I had really intense nighttime headaches. So I couldn't sleep. I'd fall asleep for maybe 2 hours. I'd have to turn around because my head was hurting so much on the side that I was sleeping that I had to turn around, sleep maybe another hour, and then I was done sleeping because it hurt too much to turn back to the other side. And as we are expected to always be on the go, I of course did not have time to think about going to a doctor. I was just thinking that at some point I'll be tired enough to sleep. Like, you know, I think it was a little after a year of this craziness, I finally saw a doctor who sent me to a physical therapist. And she noticed that all the muscles around my head, my neck, my jaw, all the soft tissue was really hard and tense. So there was discussion around whether or not it's bad posture while sleeping, bad posture overall, but also stress, like everything kind of feeding into it. I also was clenching my teeth while I was sleeping, and while the dentist just wanted to do like the mouth guard and have me have all these contraptions to stop it from happening, the physical therapist helped me to actually get to the root cause of it, which was all this tension was making my jaw clench. And suddenly I had to make time for these exercises to soften all of these areas. And I had to do it 3 times a day for 20 minutes. And I felt like I don't have an hour to just be pressing places on my head and my jaw. Like I don't have time to do that because I have so many things to do. But this physical therapist was really good at her job. She knew if I was not doing those exercises, I had to go back every week for a while. So I just had to make the time, even though it felt like something unnecessary to like be poking at my head or doing these relaxing exercises. But putting the time into that forced me to slow down, but it also, eventually helped me get my sleep back. And when I was taking care of myself, when I was taking that time, and when I was sleeping better, I noticed that I was doing so many extra things. So it was kind of like this slowing down helped me realize I was doing too much and that there were a lot of things that I didn't need to be doing. So I could take them off my list. And then suddenly I had more time to take care of myself. And like it's kind of started this cycle.
Amazing. It's almost as if it's given you more time. It's given you your time
Yeah.
back. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's given me my time back and it's given me back, if
Mm,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. It
Because
was
I wasn't
stressful.
being myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't being myself in that stressful state. But I know that you have a lot more wisdom to share around benefits from slowing down.
Yeah, one of them, well, I have so many, but one of them that I can share is m- a lot more joy. You know, I can truly appreciate the present moment. Before, I remember I was rushing. And it wasn't that I was rushing necessarily because I was a stressful person, but because I had a lot of friends, I had a lot of events to go to. So sometimes I found myself saying yes to, three birthdays in one evening, which right
Right.
now I cannot even imagine myself having three events in 1 week, right? But at the time, I was doing three events in three dinners in one evening, and it's like ridiculous. How can you have dinner three times in one evening? But that was
Yeah,
what I was doing. And I thought that I was being a good friend because it means that, well, I am saying yes to all of your birthdays and you can count on
yeah,
me and I'll be there. But what I had not realized it was that while I was attending all of these my friends' birthdays, I wasn't spending time, like quality time with them. So
right.
I was there for their birthdays just for like a quick photo, and then I was rushing again. I didn't have time to truly celebrate who they are and be there for them. So right now I have more time, like more joy, whenever I say yes to something. Just like when you were mentioning, when you say yes to making the time or pressing your point body to stress you and relax those muscles. It felt to me that when I gave myself the time and the permission to actually focus on what is essential for me. And for me, the quality of my relationships is extremely important. And so I needed to make the time to nurture these relationships and these friendships. So then I started, unfortunately, having to say no to some friends so that I could be there for for those people and truly appreciate the present moment.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main benefit also of slowing down. And I want
Mhm.
to maybe share here about the misconceptions that often comes with slowing down. I think you mentioned one about how one of the misconception is that I don't have time for this, right?
Right.
So yeah, and how would you advise people to transition between I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this, to actually now making the time to slow down.
Well, maybe I feel like what you're talking about is maybe that fear of being seen as lazy or as other, just because I'm sure some people do judge the
Mhm.
people who take time to slow down and see it as being lazy. But yeah, maybe that's an area we need to talk about, this fear of being seen as lazy or having this internal worry that I'm being lazy if I'm not getting things done.
I love that. Yeah. One of the things that, yeah, it's a very common misconception that slowing down means that you won't do anything much with your life and it won't amount to anything much. But I have to disagree with that, because in my life slowing down actually gets me faster to my goals and achieve a lot more of the, whether it's creative projects or things you want personally for yourself, for your work, or for your family, whatever it is. Because as you're slowing down, I find that you will inevitably come also to the realization that, like you mentioned, in part one, like certain things have to go. So one of the examples I can share today is the story of how I wanted to write a book. I wanted to write a novel. So I always wanted to write a novel, just for, just
Mhm.
for fun, just for pleasure, and then if it sells, why not? And I thought it would be so cool. And every time I would try and try and try, and of course, when is there time to write a novel? never.
Right.
There's so many other things to do. And I never found the time. And I thought, okay, when, one day I'll go to a retreat or something, or one day in the future, when I retire, or when. And then I started thinking, you know what, I could actually start doing this now. And then I heard about this project or this concept called National Novel Writing Month, which is shortened to be NaNoWriMo. And in this month, which is in November every year, what happens is that writers or aspiring writers all over the world, they meet online, and then some of them they meet in their respective cities or countries. They meet to write a novel from scratch in 30 days, which sounds insane. But um, I actually had to slow down, meaning that I had to slow down my activities. I couldn't
Mhm.
they actually share with you, like some of the authors that mentor you. They were like famous authors that would share their secrets to how to
Right.
get more things done or how to get this novel written. And one of the things was to be disciplined. Like, we can, for those listening, you can go to part 1 if you've missed it, because we mentioned all about, having these healthy habits in place. And one of the healthy habits is to really make it intentional. Like, you need to have this space to slow down everything else you're doing and just write. So you will allocate a specific time to do some writing, and that means saying no to a few other things. That means maybe less social. That means perhaps less watching TV, less Netflix, or less of other things. But then it gives you more time to do that. And when I did this, it was just much easier. I found that it's basically a novel is you write about 50,000 words, which
Mhm.
amounts to about 1,700 words a day. And when you break it down into small bits, you realize, oh, wow, you can actually just, sit down nicely, quiet, pause, just breathe, be there fully in the moment, and then immerse yourself in it. And then when you're done, you move on to the next things you have to do in your day. But finding this time to just pause, stop whatever you're doing, and then focusing on this one project or this
Mm.
whatever it is you want to bring more into your life. So and then yeah, that was how I was able to write a novel.
That's amazing. I've signed up for NaNoWriMo a couple times, but this was a long time ago when I had my 9 to 5 job and had all these other things I had to do.
Yeah.
So that never really happened. I stuck with it for like 3 days and then I was like, who has time for this? But I back then I had no idea, or I didn't think that any of the things that I was doing in my daily life, that any of them could have been taken out or switched out for something that I actually cared a lot about. Writing a book has been a dream since I was a kid. So I think that's amazing that you've been able to do that.
Yeah, and I love the what you just said now. I need to emphasize that you said that things that you care about. And
Mm,
this is so beautiful because I find that for those listening here, it's like we want to encourage you to look for your own benefits. So,
yes.
what is it that you care about? What is it that really means something for you in your life? Maybe it's not to write a novel. Maybe it's not to press your points on for you relaxing your muscles. Maybe for you it's something else. Maybe it's gardening or more present with your children or family or your pets or whatever it is. Like, what are some of why are you wanting to slow down? What do you need more? What do you want more in your life? And this will help you to come up with your own definition of slow living. When you're starting to think more about what benefits are you looking for, then you can craft that for yourself. So catch us again soon in part 3 of the series Slowing Down in Lockdown. Bye. Okay.